go. My damn internet be acting funny. What's up, y'all? What's good? Welcome to the What Up Though Show. It's your boy Dame D, and I am back with another one. Today we're going to be talking about the Terrence Crawford Canelo Alverez fight that's coming up in now 2 days. We have less than 3 days that we'll be seeing this great fight. You know what I mean? And I'm going to be joined today in this conversation by a guest. I will allow him to introduce himself to the show.
What up, though? What up, though? Yes, BJ3. Coming from you by way of Detroit, now in Cali. You know what I'm saying? Thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much, BJ3. You know, and everybody knows BJ3 is a frequent visitor to the What Up Though Show. He's always over here, especially when we have big fights. Fights coming up, and just fights in general, so he's one of my go-to, when we have a fight. Okay. So here we go. BJ3, is here, man. We got one of the biggest fights of the year. It's going to be, in my opinion, a great fight. I just want to see an action-packed, well-contested fight. You know what I mean? And if I'm not mistaken, you're going to be live in the building at the fight.
I'm trying to figure out as we speak. I end up stopping to do the show with you, trying to download my tickets because they say you got to have them downloaded ahead of time. So I had to get to that. But here, before we get deep, I want to say something. I want to do something real quick. If anybody just clicking through and trying to see, if they want to continue listening. I want you to let the people know that we're not just boxing fans. We have some history so they can understand that it's not just two guys just talking. Let them know that if they stopping in on this show and they talking about this particular topic, let them know a little bit about the history from your aspect. Where you get into boxing?
Well. I mean, we can go ahead and explain. I'll let you explain. I mean, you can tell them. Just go ahead and start. From the beginning. How this sport of boxing. How we took interest to it and where where we took interest and how it began. So I'll go ahead and allow you to speak and talk.
Right. I mean, and again, I don't want to make the whole show about it, but I just want people to understand that it's not just two guys that's fans of boxing. Like, we grew up in this, so
and they know because like most of some of the shows that we've done and we talked about boxing and sports, I've told them where this comes from, so I'll go ahead and so if they heard it from me, so I'll allow you to go ahead and tell your story.
Right. And I do a minute, 60 seconds. So as little kids, our uncle Keith was a boxing trainer. So we've been in the ring, in the gym. As little kids, our uncle with legends. I just to throw a name out there, James Toney. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been, around.
Hold on. BJ3, put some respect on his name. Say his whole entire name.
James Lights Out, baby.
There we go.
Yes, sir.
Who gave him his nickname, the Lights Out.
Right. I mean, I've heard some stories, but
my Uncle Keith. I'm in the middle of setting up. I want to say this, not to cut you off, but Keith Lee, he was the original, his James Toney first trainer, that brought him up, through the works before he switched over to Bill Miller. You know what I mean? But my Uncle Keith Lee, Sr., he was the one who gave James Toney the Lights Out, the name Lights Out. You know what I mean? So, but go ahead, BJ3. I'll let you continue to speak your piece.
So no, we go way back, from not just gyms, all kind of fighters that we've been around and blah 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 in the gym, and in our whole family. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, if you come through the family, you had to be able to do something. If it was issues in the neighborhood, it was take it to the backyard, put the gloves on, put the Vaseline on your face. Had to wait, but hold on, buddy, you got to put the Vaseline on. Put the Vaseline on, you go in the backyard. So yeah, it runs deep. It runs deep. So we got a couple, golden gloves and all this. And you took it further than I did, and had success. I definitely would anywhere I go, have you to my back. I know I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but you were right there in the gym too. You know
all
what I
day.
mean? So hey, you went to war with us, but no,
Yeah.
and everything that BJ3 said was exactly right. We come from a family of fighters. My uncle, and bless his soul, he's not here with us. I speak about him all the time. My uncle Keith Lee Sr., he was one of the first men that introduced us to this boxing, to this sport that we call boxing. You know what I mean? He brought us in, like we were one of his own, teached us about the sport, showed us the sport. And then not only that, we were able to meet so many, I'll just say boxers
Man,
that you guys may call famous, but, to us,
man.
they average guys in the gym, boxing or training, but we got to meet so many great fighters, just being around him and being in the gym. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a documentary, about his life and his story about coaching, and all that, but BJ3,
Yes.
anything we're going ahead and start the show up.
Let's go, baby. Talk to me. You already know what I'm gonna say, but please ask me so I can tell you.
Okay. Well, look, I need for you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Give me your thoughts on this upcoming great fight. Now, what division is this? Is this super middleweight?
Yeah, 168. They fighting at
Right. So
168.
we getting ready to watch a classic at super middleweight.
Man, instant classic. You called that.
Yes.
Instant classic.
And so look, I want you to go on ahead and tell the story, BJ3. Look, you're gonna be listen. This is the go-to guy. He's always at all the major fights, live and in person. You know what I mean? So look, you tell everybody, how does it feel to be at that arena, to be watching the fight? Because if I'm not, what was the last fight that you attended that you were live at?
Man. I don't even know. It wasn't that long ago.
Was it the Spence Crawford fight?
I was at the Spence Crawford fight. I don't know if it was one after that though. I was definitely at the Spence.
No, I think you were. I think you were at a fight after that. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But give everybody your opinion and your thoughts on how it feels, to be in an arena, at a live boxing match. I've been there, I've experienced, but for those who have not, give everybody your experience, your thoughts on what you anticipate for this upcoming weekend's matchup, and then we'll go on ahead and get off into tonight's show.
Okay. So it's it's different watching it, at the house versus being in the arena. It's a different type of feeling, different type of vibe, different type of atmosphere. It's the energy, it's just crazy. So this fight is in a arena because I'm when we looking at tickets, she like, we usually sit like right here. We usually sit right here. I'm like, look, babe, the arenas that we usually are getting tickets for are like $20,000, $30,000 seat stadiums, arenas.
Right.
This arena is like the big house. You know what I'm saying? It's like 90,000 seats. So yeah,
it's about to be packed. Now what arena is this actually going to be held at?
This is at Allegiance Arena, the where the Raiders play.
Okay, wow. So basically that's a Coliseum.
Whatever you want to call it. I ain't never been a Savage. Yeah. When you drive, it's right off the freeway, so I've driven past it. I've seen it during construction. But I've never been to
Well,
SAD.
look,
But
hey, I'm gonna say this, man. You're gonna have to give us some live coverage, some
man,
live
you already know,
footage.
man. I do videos and I
Once you
send them
get
to
down
you
there,
all day.
but
I do
look,
videos and I send them to you all day. You already
right
know.
now, and we definitely gonna put them out now. Because matter of fact, and I'll put that. I'll put some of the stuff that you put out. I think I put it out, but I'm gonna make sure that everything you send me, I put it out. But look, I have some audio and video that I'm gonna show of, Bud Crawford at the end of his training camp, I believe, and and then we'll get back, and then we'll do our commentary. But this is for fair use. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. So I'm going to play that, and then we'll get back to our commentary. So give me 1 second, and here we go.
All right. Yep.
Terrence just down here. Obviously, a fascinating matchup between you and Canelo Alverez this weekend. But when you look at the puzzle in front of you here, just over here, when you look at the puzzle, what do you perceive to be the bigger challenge? Is it overcoming his size, or is it overcoming his ability as a boxer? Which is the bigger challenge to you?
I don't know what challenge that he's going to pose on me. We got to wait till fight night to see.
Do you think the size has been somewhat almost overplayed in the lead up to this fight? Everyone's acting like you're making this massive jump, which is true, is a massive jump. But do you believe people are underestimating your technical ability in overcoming the size difference?
I think people is underestimating everything about me, but that doesn't matter. We got to fight here Saturday, and all the answers will be answered that night.
Right now, new Bet365 customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets, win or lose. So you could turn that $300 into something bigger.
Never ordinary at Bet365.
There we go.
Is there almost some pleasure you can take in the fact that people are kind of counting you out, because then when you do prove them wrong on Saturday, you get an extra bonus of being able to tell them, I told you so?
Oh, it's going to be all right. It's going to be good. I can't wait.
And last one from me, from the UFC world, Ilia Topuria says that if you guys ever boxed, he would knock you out based on the first punch.
That dude drunk, Hey, a lot of MMA guys, they drink a lot. So he must have been on that alcohol that day.
Terrence, for the fight itself, you were to force Canelo on the back foot. How do you think he'll deal with a guy of your caliber, just constantly pressuring him?
We shall see. He's a professional. He got a lot of experience. And, I don't put it past him. It's going to be a great fight. I can't wait.
And I spoke with Bomac last night about this, but I wanted to ask you, do you feel like this whole scenery of Netflix, Legion, all that beautiful stuff, is you finally getting the recognition you deserve and the spotlight you deserve? Obviously, the boxing world knows who you are, but we're talking people that may have never watched the sport tuning in to see you for the first time.
Well, everything happened for a reason. It ain't on my time. It's on God's time. And, the time is now, and I'm here. So I'm not going to reminisce on the past. I'm living in the present. We here now, and we about to break, records and do big numbers.
And with you potentially winning this Saturday, not only you achieve greatness of getting those belts at Super Moto, but you also edge yourself in to talk forever in history of the sport. So do you think about that, or is it just straight business till Saturday and then you talk about stuff like that?
Well, I definitely think about it, but, I'm keeping myself focused on the job at hand because I don't want to, eat before my food is ready.
Hey, Terrence. This is the first time with Dana White crossing over to boxing. A lot of people have been talking about this. Have you felt any difference with his involvement around this fight? And do you think he can do great things going forward for boxing as he did for MMA?
Well, it's not just Dana, it's Netflix as well. This is a massive fight. It's talked about, all over the world right now. You can't go to any site and not see Terrence Crawford and Canelo being mentioned and talked about. So, Dana, Turkey Al-Rashid, Riyadh season, Netflix is doing a wonderful job promoting the fight.
Recently this week, you mentioned that podcast that you consider Cody Garbrandt to be the best boxer on the UFC. Other than Cody, do you see or do you know any other MMA fighter that you think has the capability to transition and have some sort of success in boxing?
Well, there's a few other people, but, Cody's just one that always stuck out to me. before we was even friends. You know, I looked at him and was like, man, this dude can box.
Your confidence has been like the major point when it comes to you with this fight. The division change. A lot of people are doubting your abilities. Does that ever get to you before the fight?
Not at all. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. You know, what one, you know, think of me doesn't, you know, move me or anything. You know, they can't fight for him. They can't fight for me. So, you know, their opinion doesn't matter at the end of the day in my eyes or in my feelings, because I've been doubted my whole career, my whole life in boxing. So, you know, I've been told I would never be where I'm at now. I was told that, you know, I needed to get another job because I wasn't going to be a world champion. So many things that I've been told in my life. I just feel like, okay, well, just watch me do it, you know, and with my self-belief in myself, you know, I don't care what nobody else say because I'm comfortable in my own skin.
And does that confidence allow you to give us a prediction for Saturday night?
A victory. I'm going to be victorious. Then everybody going to be talking about it on Sunday.
Thank you.
Okay, well, look, I'm going to go ahead and end that. We're going to stop it right there, VJ3. You know, so you heard it from the man himself. You know, he said he was going to be victorious. But before we get off until some of the stuff we were saying, BJ3, you know, Netflix has joined in your boy from the UFC. What's his name again?
Dana White.
Yeah, Dana White has joined in. You know, so look, this is setting up to be one of the, if not one of the greatest fights generated, you know, in our era. You know, it's gonna be a mega fight, BJ3. So give me your thoughts on Netflix, on Dana White, you know, joining, you know, this fight.
I say Turkey is putting the money up, and you got Dana, who's great at promoting.
Exactly.
And then you got Netflix, who has, you know, a large amount of viewers already connected to it, and they're not making it a pay-per-view fight. So the amount of people that actually lay eyes on this fight is supposed to be the number one amount that ever watched a fight.
Man, listen, if they get if Canelo, which I know Canelo probably has that in this contract, but you know, hopefully Bud has that too. But the back end money that they're going to get off the pay-per-view,
it's no pay-per-view.
Oh, it's Netflix. Yeah, you know what? I forgot about that. So it's Netflix, but still, it's still a contract. They're still going to get millions. You know, it's still going to be a lot of money generated, you know, through Netflix. Yeah, through commercials and things like that.
Now, the thing is too, like I was telling my beautician, like Turkey throw fights like you throw a reception or a birthday party. You putting on an event, so when people come, they have a good time, and you're not looking for them to pay to get in. It's just that you want to do this event for people to have a good time, because he don't need to recoup the money. The other promoters, they're doing it through a financial aspect where they had to make a certain amount. Where Turkey, like, it's not about making money for me. I just want to see the best fight the best.
It's about the fight.
It's
you know,
about the fight. And that's why
and I'm glad you said that, BJ3, because look, a lot of people don't know that. You know, most fight fans know that, but listen, what they have done is they put a mega fight together that they're not concerned about the thing that you were just saying. Go ahead, BJ3.
We would have never seen these two guys getting. That would have never happened. It would have never happened. The way that things are set up, the politics and the management and the promotion, who on here and who's over there, the way that things are set up now, those two would never have gotten into the ring. The amount of money that it would have took to get them in the ring, he did it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think that
So do you think the Turks are a great thing for boxing?
Right now, You know, they said I hear a lot of stuff about they're trying to do this and trying to change things and have base salaries and all that. But
Right.
it is right now, Canelo was saying no. Like, man, no, I'm not fighting Crawford. Why would I fight Crawford? He's this, he's that, he's this. And Turkey gave him a Godfather deal.
Right.
Made him an offer. He made him an offer. and you see, he fighting
What's
now. Now, you know, he like, yeah, this is probably the best fight of my life. Canelo was
See,
saying that.
yeah, see, and I want to talk about that. You know, we getting ready to get off into, you know, the fight, and, you know, talk about that. You know, the video that we just watched with Crawford, you know, he said people were doubting him his whole life, you know, and now look at the timing of this fight, you know, because we could have had Earl Spence, Canelo, you know, but Bud did what he took care of his business, you know, and you know, BJ3, I'm a Earl Spence fan, you know, Bud made me a believer after that fight. You know, after I saw him do what he did, and I still, you know, which we may not ever see this rematch. You know what I mean? You know,
That's
unless
not
they
gonna
put some type,
Why would he fight
type of
him?
deal together, you know, after this, because a lot of people will want to see that rematch. You know, but you know that's here or there. You know, but look, man,
For what?
you know, Bud talked about how much he was doubted his whole career. You know, how he just went out there and won. You know, he stopped Spence. You know, everybody doubted him in that fight and thought that, you know, Spence was just going to walk through him. And it's pretty much the same thing with this fight, BJ3. You know, so my question to you, the timing. Let's talk about timing. You know, do you think the timing was right for both fighters? You know, give me your opinion, you know, just on the timing, you know, both of these fighters, you know, because Canelo, I'm going to say he has more fighting behind him than he does in front of him, you know, and I'm not going to, and probably the same thing with Bud, you know.
Yeah, of
So
course.
do you think this
Couple of
timing was
fights.
great timing and this was meant to happen?
I think the timing is perfect. The timing is perfect. Like, Canelo has had enough people that have praised him, looked up to him, you know, that he gave a chance to fight to, that wasn't really just trying to take his head off, you know what I'm saying? Just was honored that they were chosen to fight him, right? So now you got a fighter in there that is also, you know, he's honored that he's fighting him, but he's going in there to take his head off. Like he sees he want to put a he want to stump a hole in his ass.
And you saying Bud, right?
Yeah, and I think that okay, I'll wait because I know you know you got
No, go ahead, finish talking. I'm
I just
listening to
think
you.
that I just think that he gonna do what he say he said he gonna do. You know, I have a long history of going with Bud. Like, I remember when Bud got the big shot on HBO, and they matched him up, and I can't remember the person. I could Google it, but they matched him up with a person that they thought was gonna beat him. Like, he was like, it was like a late replacement, and they put him in there. And I think Bradley was commentating at the time, and Bradley was like, "Man, you know, it looked like all the odds are stacked against Crawford. You know, he coming in late and blah 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 and all it, and all the odds, you know, in Vegas are set up against him." And he's like, "But I'm telling you, like, I sparred this guy," and he told the story then, and I'm like, "Oh, okay," you know what I'm saying? And he did his thing. I said, "All right, you know, I've been with him." So anyway, yeah, this is set up at the perfect time.
Yeah, you know, and I agree with you 100%. Let's talk about what everybody's been talking about, man, the size, you know, but a lot of people better not doubt the size of Crawford, man, because he flexed. That boy don't put on some pounds, and he looked good at that weight, you know. So let's talk about, you know, the size, how everybody thinks Canelo is going to be bigger. You know, he's just going to bully his way, you know, and push Crawford, you know, and just cut the ring off, and you know, and just take full control, you know, over Crawford. You know what I mean? But what a lot of people don't know, who have not been watching Crawford's training camp, you know, has not been following him through this this whole training camp. This boy don't put on some pounds, and he looks really good, BJ3. So give everybody your opinion, your thoughts on the size, and you know, how he was doubted, you know, with being smaller, fighting Earl Spence. You know, this is something that Crawford's been going through pretty much his whole career. You know, especially when he's fighting bigger opponents. You know, everybody always talks about, you know, the size, and you know how that bigger fighter will come in and dominate, you know, Crawford. You know, but somehow he seems to, you know, even the score, even that match, you know, and take away that you know, the size that those fighters bring in to have. So give me your opinion, give me your thoughts on what everybody's talking about with this size.
So with the size, I say Bud always spar guys that are heavier. Even when he was a lighter weight, he was sparring guys that were heavier. So I had to see too. Like, I had to see what his body looked like, because I've been watching and hearing, you know, they say the speed is still there, you know, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, as long as he can still move and do what he's supposed to with the weight, then he'll be all right. And then I seen his physique. I said, all right, he's gonna be fine. So I'm saying that to say, like, I don't think it's gonna be no major issue, because like Bud is a wrestler too, so he's strong, lower body, you know what I'm saying, like he's strong. So moving him around, him being able to keep weight on him and just focus on moves and his stamina versus having to lose weight, man, I think and it's not a lot of people out there, you know what I'm saying, like this dude is like you know, one in a generation talent. So I think him being able to put the weight on, taking his time like he did, it ain't like he had to do it in a couple of months. Like, he's been prepping for this for a long time. And so I don't think it's going to be a major issue. I think, you know, Bud can fight it a couple different ways. I think he's going to win, and he can win a couple of different ways. The only thing is he can't get caught. You know, that's anybody, anytime. But as long as he don't get caught, then this is gonna be damn near, you know, like Earl. You know, Canelo gonna, you know, he gonna try to put the pedal to the metal. I think we're gonna see a great Canelo too. I think Canelo's gonna be on his A game, moving and doing stuff, you know, that he hasn't done in a while, because he's not fighting fighters that's you know coming in, you know, trying to trade with him. So I think Canelo's gonna fight a different type of fight. So we're gonna see Canelo at his best as well. It's gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be a real good
Right. You know, and everybody always talk about the size of Crawford, you know, when he's fighting a bigger opponent, you know, but the boxing world know, you know, those that box, you know, fighters that fight, you know, they know that size really doesn't mean anything, you know, because most boxers probably walk around at that weight anyway when he's not getting ready to you know, actually enter a match. So he's probably walking around two weight divisions, you know. Well, I'm not going to say that much, you know, but he probably walk around at least.
He showed
From like 150 to 160. You know what I mean? You know, at least. You know, so that's what. Go ahead, BJ3. My bad.
He showed him on the scale when they announced the fight. He showed the scale. He was 186.
And hold on, this was before the weigh-in?
Oh, this was as soon as they announced the fight. This was months ago.
And that was Bud, right?
Bud was
Yeah,
186.
so that proves my point. So like I said, most fighters walk around heavy anyway. Um, until they actually get a fight. You know what I mean? Not saying that they don't stay in shape, that they don't work out, but most fighters stay a little heavy. That's why James Lights Out Tony had a hard, time making a lot of his weight, during in certain divisions. You know what I mean? Because he always walked around heavy, and it was hard for him to make certain, weight. It was hard for him to make weight at certain fights. You know what I mean? So most of these athletes do walk around, pretty, heavier than the actual than they have to when they have to actual weigh in. So this won't be a problem, for Crawford. The size, because at the end of the day, he's beefed up, he's ready to go. So a lot of people's question is, do you think he's going to be able to bring the power with him, BJ3?
I don't think that it's a question that the power coming. I think that the power definitely carried, because the people he's been sparring, he had to be able to have some kind of power to stay in the ring with him. One of the fighters that he sparred with canceled his fight because he was getting migraines from sparring with Bud. So
yeah, I heard about that too. And the reason why I asked that, BJ3, because I'm gonna go back to both of the guys this last fight. Let me see. Bud, his last fight was against I can't pronounce his name. I don't want to tear it up. Makhnomov, the Russian. Yeah, so and that went the whole 12 rounds. To me, I'm not going to say it didn't look like, and that was a weight division up under this division. That still was lighter than, yeah, you know what I mean? So to me, I'm not going to say it didn't look like he had the power, that he had when he was fighting at a smaller division, or like when he fought Spence, and Makhnomov wasn't no pushover. He respected that power. I'm not going to say he did not run up in there, but a lot of people, had questions. That's why a lot of people have questions leading into this fight. Will he be able to bring the power? Because in this last fight, he really didn't look like, that he brought the same power that he had fought when he was fighting in his true weight class. You know what I mean, BJ3?
So I was at that fight too. That was the first.
So that may have been the last fight you've been to, because that was a recent fight. That was about 3 months ago.
That was years ago. That was after the Spence fight, but that definitely wasn't the last one. I'll ask Terrence. She'll tell me. But all right, so look. So with that fight, that was a totally different type of fight than Spence or a Canelo, right? Majimov had the style he used was in and out, a lot of movements, in and out, a lot of feints, and then moves, and then feints. So it was like, okay, so Bud is a counterpuncher. So he wanna move to make you do something, so then he can make a move. But Majimov wasn't really making moves, and then when he make a move, it was different. This is not
right. Pretty much, he wasn't standing there for Bud to be able to counter fight and hit him.
Right. It was
what you're saying.
It was different. So
right.
And toward the end of the fight, Bud just pressed the issue a lot more, and you could tell he started beating him up. So Bud said, because I watched another podcast, and he said when he talked to Bud, he asked him about that, like he took a couple shots. He was like, when I started taking shots from him, his shots really wasn't affecting me, but I had to take those shots so I can get in my shots, and my shots, did a lot more damage. Right. And I should have did that earlier, and I would have been able to get him out of there. But I was trying to, be cautious and time him in the beginning when, I should have just put the pressure on him sooner. So
right, no, and that makes sense. Pretty much, he was just filling them out, in the earlier rounds, and not really wanting to, I'm not going to say test that power, but yeah, no, it all makes sense, you know. And in the later rounds, he stepped in and was like, okay, you know, this all you got. I should have did this in the earlier rounds. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you know, at the end of the day, man, you know, a lot of people had concerns with that. You know, they said Bud didn't look like, you know, that he brought the power with him to that fight, you know, and that's actually a weight class up under the fight that we're getting ready to see this Saturday, right?
It's two weight classes. So that fight was at 154. This fight is at 168.
68.
So it's 154, 160, 168. So it's two.
Yeah,
it's two
see, and that's why a lot of people have concerns, you know, over the power over Bud bringing his power up, you know, and then just him being able to take Canelo's power, you know. But I don't think it'll be any problems, you know. I think Bud will be able to bring the power, you know. I just think it was just like you said, just he was testing the waters. He wanted to be cautious, you know. And Madrimov, he wasn't a pushover, you know, and that was a good fight. You know, so let's talk about. Go ahead, BJ.
Yeah, I mean, you got to Madrimov. I think he had maybe 10 professional fights at that time, but he had over 300 amateur
fights
that he fought world champions.
Right, throughout those 300 fights.
Yeah, over and over, like so his experience level was high.
Right.
And that's why
I get it.
In there fighting at that, you know. So yeah. All right, he was going to
Okay, now we'll talk about Canelo's last fight. A lot of people was not impressed, you know, on how he looked against William Scar, and I was not impressed. You know, it was a decent fight, but it was not a fight that we were used to watching Canelo fight. You know, a lot of people thought that may have been one of the last. I'm not going to say the last fight we saw from Canelo, but a lot of people was wondering, you know, was that one of the, you know, will this be the end, you know, for Canelo, you know, because that fight he didn't bring the fight to that fight. You know what I mean? And a lot of people, William Scar thought he won that fight. So it was a decent fight. It went 12 rounds. And when was the last, you know, and in the last few fights Canelo fought, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you could correct me if I'm wrong, BJ3, they've all went to the 12-round decisions, if I'm not mistaken.
I think his last 4 or 5 fights have went the distance.
Right.
And so with Skull, and so I can name a couple people, Plant, you know, I think somebody else, but Laura. So when they box him, hit him, and get out the way, round 5, round 6, Canelo starts showing his frustration. And he did, and if you watch Skull fight, I mean, I didn't watch it, you know, a bunch of times, so I didn't memorize it, but I don't remember what round, but it's 6, 7 maybe, you know what I'm saying? He started, you know, throwing his hands in the air, like, come on, you know, like that's when he frustrated. And I don't know what game plan, but like I said, he can do it in a couple different ways, but if he stick and move for a couple rounds, then Canelo will start doing extra stuff. He'll start lunging, you know what I'm saying? He'll start, you know, doing long, you know what I'm saying, like extra stuff that where Bud be able to take advantage of it. So I don't know if he want to frustrate him and wait to round 6. Like Caleb Plant had a great first half. He tires out. I mean, it is what it is. That's what he's done for, I don't know, maybe his last 10 fights. But the second half. But anyway, yeah, he had a great first half with Canelo. Canelo started getting frustrated, then he slowed down, and then he was able to get him. But I don't think Bud is gonna want to stick and move the whole fight. I don't think he's gonna have to. But I think at least the first couple of rounds, move out the way, let him burn some of that energy, because he's gonna be coming. He's gonna be trying to use that speed that he hasn't had to use, because he said it. He said, "Man, the other guys I've been fighting, they've been big, so I didn't need to use all that movement." He said, I use the movement when I need to. He said, well, Bud, I'm gonna use it because I need it. So,
And you saying this is what Canelo is saying?
Canelo said, yeah, I watched
Right.
something, that Canelo said that. He's like, somebody, I think it was Max asked him. He's like, yeah, I use that when I need to. He said, lately I haven't needed to. Those guys have been bigger, so I haven't had to be quick. He said, this fight,
okay. So basically, he was talking about that William Scar fight. Then how he was, I'm not going to say lackadaisy, how he really didn't show any explosiveness, through that fight. So but yeah, that's what a lot of people is going to be asking, watching both of the fighters' last fight. Canelo didn't put really out that much offense in that last fight. William Scar, that was actually a good fight. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So
Canelo
what do you think?
Problem.
Right. So my next question is, let's talk about the trainers. I'm not too familiar with Canelo's trainers. I know at one point he was working with I forget the white guy's name with the glasses. You may know his name. But let's talk about him, his Canelo's trainers versus Bomac and company.
Canelo Alverez trainers. So you talking about Goosen?
Yeah, he was working with Goosen at one point in his last fight, I think, against William Scar.
He's been with, I don't know.
Well, not Goosen. Goosen is one of the promoters. Hold on. It'll come to me in a second, but go ahead, BJ3.
Eddie Reynoso is his trainer.
Okay, there we go.
So he's been with him for years. You know what I'm saying? He may have had some other people in, but that's been his main trainer. So they've both had the same trainers for a while, but Bud has come up with Bomac on more than just trainer level. Like they got a different type of relationship, business partners and all kind of stuff. But yeah, man. Hey man, these guys, everything was top notch. You know what I'm saying? Like the training, the sparring, the facilities, the build up. They got Turkey, they got Netflix, they got the money behind it. Like everything for this fight was at the top. Like nobody will have no excuses. They had everything that they needed. It's just a matter of execution. Can you stop this person and impose your will on this person? Because that's what it's gonna come down to. I mean, I'm like, man, Bud may get knocked down. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it can get crazy. I think Canelo.
Hold on, did you just say that?
Hey, he may have to tighten up, and I think that after that it'll be just like everybody else. Everybody else that
I can't believe you said that Bud may get knocked down. That's saying a lot, BJ3. I can't believe I heard them words come out of your mouth. Saying that he may get knocked down by Canelo. But look. It can happen. Canelo is definitely, and Vegas has him as the
favorite. He should be.
As the favorite, right? Yeah, he definitely has the power. He definitely can drop him and maybe even not. I'm not gonna even say knock Bud out because Bud we've never saw that happen. But
no, he'll knock him down. I'm saying he'll knock him down, and then everybody else that's wobbled him, he take him out.
So he came back and knocked him out. Right. I agree with you.
If he get knocked down, then this.
See, but listen, man. But those fighters that wobbled him, BJ3 and made him did that were not on the level of Canelo. So I don't know, man. I ain't gonna say that. I think if Canelo drop him, he might go ahead and just try to beat the brakes off of him. Then but I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah, if he get back up, then I think it's over.
Because I'm gonna be honest. Both fighters have the skill set to, to be able to finish any fight. Especially when they drop a fighter or put them on the canvas. That's when pretty much you see blood. And most champions, most fighters will end that fight within that round or the next few rounds. So but yeah, man, I think it's definitely going to be a great fight. I just want to see an action-packed fight from the beginning to the end. In my predictions, man, I think somebody will see the canvas. I think it'll be a stoppage. I'm gonna be honest, because in my opinion, and I have not asked you this yet, which I will, in my opinion, I think, and this is the question that I was going to ask you: who do you think is going to be the aggressor of this fight? Who will control the fight? And who will be the stronger out of the two in this fight?
So it was a point in the Spence fight where they ran into each other, and Bud moved him back, and I said, "Oh man, this not gonna end well. Like, he's moving him back way too soon. He's supposed to be the bigger, the stronger one, and all of this. Bud is gonna test that. We're gonna see in the first 2 rounds if Canelo's gonna be able to push him around. Bud is gonna check it out. He gonna move. He gonna just like he did on stage when he went chest to chest. He wanted to see if he could push him back, and he seen that he went back, and then Canelo pushed him, and then they had to separate him and all that. And he was just looking at him like, yeah. So he gonna test it out, and if he feel that Canelo can't move him back and is not stronger than him, man, that's what I say, man. Bud can win on a couple different ways. He can go forward. I done seen him knock folks out moving backwards. Like, it don't even matter. Like, I don't know which way he gonna fight. I don't even know if he know which way he gonna fight right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he changed it up. Like, whatever deficiencies he see on the other side, he capitalized on. So Canelo, and I know he will, he's gonna have to be on his A game, because any wrong moves, Bud gonna hit him in angles that he ain't used to getting hit from. So I think Canelo, I think it's gonna be a stoppage, or it's gonna be an ass whipping. Period. At the end of the fight, we're gonna be like, either Canelo got his ass whipped and he got his chin because he ain't go down, or it's gonna be just like most of Bud's fights. They pulling them up off of him. Like, all right, that's enough. You're gonna hurt him. You're gonna do too much. That's enough.
All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and finish it up, BJ3. Give everybody your prediction.
That was it.
Yeah, that's what everybody wants to know. Give everybody what round you think it'll be a stoppage in, if you think it'll be a stoppage. And at the end of the day, just give everybody your opinion on who's going to win this fight.
So I say I'm going around 10 or 11 knockout by Bud. Bud victorious, 3-time undisputed, first time and first male, first fighter. I think if it go to decision, I think it's definitely going to be Bud. I don't think there's no way that Canelo can outpoint him.
Okay, well, and I'm glad you said that. And before I give my opinion, we've just heard that Canelo have most of his judges out there. So I don't think Bud wants to see it go a 12-round decision, meaning if he doesn't have any of his judges that judge most of his fights out there. So what I'm hearing is most of the judges that's going to be judging the fight are Canelo judges.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's deep. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that in the days upcoming to the fight. But this is something that was put out there today. Big Ken had told me about that. He was like, yeah, so far it's 3. It's 2 of Canelo judges that's going to be judging the fight. So they were talking about if Bud was going to have some of his judges out there, or were they going to put that out there? But that could play a big role in the fight, BJ3, if it goes to 12 rounds. You know what I mean? But yeah. I'll give my pick. I'll give my opinions and my thought on who I think is going to win. Like I said, I've never really was a big Bud Crawford fan until he fought my guy, Earl Spence, and stop him. So I think this fight is going to be pretty much the same. How it's probably going to end up the same way that Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence fight went down. Canelo's probably going to come out the more aggressive. and Bud will just counter, off of what Canelo's doing. And then I think in the later rounds, and I'm picking it for, I say 8-9 rounds, but I'll just go ahead and pick a definite round. I say 8 rounds. I think Bud will be able to stop him in round 8, for the knockout.
Okay.
So yeah. So that's my pick. Normally I try to play the devil's advocate and I would bet against Bud, but after that Spence fight, he definitely made me a believer, in what he can do. You know what I mean? So but yeah, man, it's definitely going to be a great fight. You're going to be live in the building. And like I said, I definitely want you to make sure that you send out live shots, and photos and even interviews that you do, and that's one thing that BJ3 has done when he was out there. He, I believe you met up with what's his name again? Ex-fighter.
So Cold, Bernie the boxer.
Yeah, Bernie the boxer. Yo.
Yeah, I talked to both of them.
Okay.
And I got pictures with Bomac too.
Right. So yeah, man, you definitely gonna have to make sure that you send us live footage, before and after the fight, because I know during the fight, it's gonna be impossible. Yeah, but definitely make sure you send us footage before and after the fight. So when do you plan on so when are you gonna leave for the fight?
Tomorrow.
Okay, all right. So you're gonna be down there Thursday night.
We're gonna try to hit the weigh-in. We're gonna try to hit the weigh-in. That's what I'm supposed to be doing, looking at the weigh-in.
And this is Vegas, right?
It's in Vegas, yeah.
Man. Hey, look, definitely be safe out there, BJ3. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be an amazing fight. Let everybody know what you got going on. Let everybody know where they can reach you.
Hey man, I'm all about being a blessing, to the families and small businesses. Last week, I talked to 2 mothers, and I got I set their children up, 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds. I set their children up to be millionaires. So one be a millionaire by the time she's 50. The other one to be a millionaire by the time she's 46. So, get at me. 773-398-5658. You know what I'm saying? I get more into it.
Well, there we go. Well, definitely make sure you get in contact with him. Like he said, again, he's in the business of changing lives. He's in the business of making sure that, you're covered, if something happened to you or one of your loved ones, so just make sure that you're covered at all times, and BJ3 is that person that you need to talk to, to be able to get that set up, so just reach out to him, for those. So BJ3, give them that information one more time.
I just my cell phone. You can shoot me a text or call 773-398-5658.
There we go. So, and I want to thank you again for coming on the show, man, giving us your thoughts, giving us your opinion, about Saturday's fight, man. At the end of the day, I just want to see, like I said, I just want to see a great fight, which I think, and I know, it'll be a great fight. We're going to see somebody hit the canvas, BJ3, and at the end of the day,
hey, man,
no matter who it is, I just want to see a well-contested fight.
Yeah, man said, I told him, I said, Bud may hit the canvas, and if he do, he gonna get up and he gonna make Canelo hit the canvas.
Man, you know what? I'm gonna just keep it real. I have not made no bets on this fight, but I don't think he want to see that canvas, because I think, Canelo, his skill set is to the point where, if Bud do see that canvas, that means he's hurt. He gonna jump on him. So and that goes both ways though, BJ3.
Yeah, it could be a flash knockdown, something like you would. Okay, all right. Let me.
And I give you that. It can be a flash knockdown. Him off balance, or what I mean. So and those are normally what flash knockdowns are. A fighter is just really off balance and he got hit with a flash shot. You know what I mean? But I definitely don't want to. If that happens, I think Canelo will jump on him in that fight, in that round, or the next upcoming rounds. But like I said, at the end of the day, man, I just want to see a great fight. But one thing we did not talk about before I end the show, BJ3, the undercard. Who's all on the undercard?
So I want to get there in time to see the undercard. So, Stone Cold. Steve Nelson is on the undercard.
Okay.
Who is 168-pound fighter? Who Bud he's Bud's main sparring partner when he was at 147. So that's what I'm saying. He's used to fighting a heavier guy. So he's on the undercard, and he lost to Pachenka his last fight, but he can fight. So I want to see how he bounced back. He has one
Which
loss.
Bud fought Pachenka?
Is it Pachenka? No, Bud didn't fight Pachenka because this dude is a 168-pound fighter that Steve Nelson lost to. And then I don't know the guy's name. I think it's he's a Mexican fighter, and he's a 168-pound fighter. And he also was in Bud's camp that Bud sparred because he comes forward Mexican style, like they're expecting for Canelo to be. So I want to see how they look, because they've been the main guys who Bud's been fighting for the last couple of months. And
we about to see a bunch of super middleweights fighting then. Pretty much is what you're saying.
Yeah. It's gonna be 168-pound fighters. Yeah. It's gonna be So I want to see them. I want to see those fights. That's the undercard. But it's gonna be fights starting at like 3 o'clock. So
right.
I don't know what time we're gonna get there, but I do want to get there in time to see those fights.
Right. Okay. Well, that's what's up, man. At the end of the day, I just want to see a great fight, and normally the undercards are pretty good, decent fights, so we'll be able to see some super middleweight slug it out, leading up to the main event, but like I said, the chat is still open. Let me know what you guys think about this Terrence Crawford Canelo Alverez fight. Who are you picking to win this fight? And tell me what you think. I don't have anything else to add to this, BJ3. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out. If you have anything else to add, you can go ahead and not. If not, I'll close out.
No, man. That's it, man. Appreciate you.
Oh, no problem. Well, look, it's your boy Dame D, and we are out. Peace.